Welcome back to Real Investing. I'm Ryan Harper, and as you can see, there is no Tim Herriage. It's okay, but with us we have Brad Martin.
Hey Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm
Good
doing
to see
well.
you.
Thanks for being here. So you're in Oklahoma, and you're doing short-term rentals.
I am, yeah.
So real quick, let's define what does that mean.
So we have short-term rental properties, not in Oklahoma. We actually have them global, Costa Rica, Deer Valley.
I was going to say, people aren't coming to Oklahoma.
You know, surprisingly, for a minute, Oklahoma and Broken Bow, Oklahoma had the #1 rated short-term rental properties on Airbnb 2 years in a row. That market is actually kind of taking a dive.
Okay.
But we do not own any assets there, but we do own assets other places.
You said Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, yeah. We just bought a property in Guanacaste region of Costa Rica in Central America. Beautiful property right on the beach, overlooking the rainforest to one side, the ocean to the front. It's a great property, and so
how does that work for like international? Because Costa Rica, to my knowledge, is not part of the United States.
It is not part of the United States, no.
So how does that work, owning a property? I mean, because like I used to live in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to own a business, or if I wanted to do business or do anything over there, somebody local had to own 51%.
Yeah, Costa Rica is very favorable to the United States. It's a little different even than Mexico, where in Mexico you don't own the land, it's a land lease. In Costa Rica, you actually own the dirt. And you as a U.S. citizen can own it. There's trust that you set up. The taxes are very favorable. The whole ecosystem as far as starting a business in the real estate world, owning a business, it is very, very positive to people outside of Costa Rica. And what has been great from a business thesis standpoint is more and more people are realizing this. So more and more people are investing. So property values are going up and up.
Is there a fear, and again, this is going to show my ignorance, but also I think it's a valid question. You got something like Venezuela, where like a lot of oil companies were in Venezuela, and then overnight they're not there anymore because they nationalize. Is there ever fear that Costa Rica could go, you know what, let's
be done.
We're going to own all. U.S. owns too much. We're just going to say that's ours now.
Always a fear. I think in anything, there's always a small fear about anything. The reality, no. They're very, very favorable to, again, expats, especially where we're at in a place called Tamarindo. It is very popular. Travel and Leisure named it as one of the top destinations in 2024 to travel to. And so we're seeing a lot of growth there. It is a place that is very well developed as far as the ecosystem of education. 98% graduate high school, which is higher than the United States. I think 87% speak English as a second language. So when you look at just the quality of people there, and then you look at the business mindset that they have, it is very favorable to outside investment.
And how many properties do you have in Costa Rica?
Just one in Costa Rica right now.
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to put all our eggs in that basket. We're going to hold off. Yeah.
And so that property you have there, like, how often is it booked? Is it booked by U.S.? Is it booked by locals? Is it more of like a resort type thing?
Yeah, so that property, we brought it online in October. We've had roughly an 80% booking since we brought it online. So October is pretty much all booked. November was all booked. December was all booked. January, the last numbers I saw in January, we had 3 days out of the 31 that were not booked. So, knock on wood, we have done very well. Now, where the people come from, it's all over. So we get a lot of people from the United States. You get a lot of snowbirds from Canada. But again, just given the proximity of Costa Rica to the European markets, you see a lot of people coming from the European markets to stay there. That area in particular is well known for surfing. And so there's actually a movie filmed there back in the 70s. So you get a lot of people going there to surf, and then you get a lot of people there for wellness. And it's just a great, great place to go on a cheap budget.
So when you have Airbnbs, like I know a lot of people have Airbnbs, like, and they'll have multiple in one area because then they get, they get the scalability aspect, economies of scale, where you have your cleaning crew, you have all the things that you need to service the Airbnbs, and it's all under one roof. Obviously, if you have one property, you can't really do that. So did you just have the same contractor how are you managing the property if you're in Oklahoma?
Yeah, we actually have a really good management company called Luxus that is out of Canada that manages it, and it manages all our properties. So they are a high-end global property management company that only deals with luxury properties. And thankfully, that's all the properties we buy is luxury properties. So what Luxus has done in cooperation with us at Rev Estates is try to provide a seamless touch point for the traveler. You think about it when you go to like a Ritz-Carlton, you go to a Four Seasons, or even a Marriott or whatever the hotel chain is, everything is consistent. And that's what we're doing in our property. So our property, you know, when you go to one of our properties, the bedding's going to be the same. It's going to be top-notch bedding. The coffee maker, the Dyson vacuum, everything about that property is going to be an unbelievable experience. Where a lot of times you you rent a short-term rental property through Airbnb, VRBO, et cetera. What you end up finding is the pictures look really good, but the experience might not match the pictures. So most of our clients are high net worth individuals that love to travel, and they want a curated special experience. And so we've partnered with Luxus to help provide that. And luckily they've done a great job, and it's been a good partnership.
Now, in that partnership, are they taking a percentage of the booking fees, or is it you just pay them a contract fee, like a monthly?
We pay them a contract fee, and it's a fee for performance. So if they do a good job, they get more. And so it's a great partnership that we have with them, to where they're incentivized to get us great bookings, to not have issues.
Okay.
And then we're in a great partnership with them to manage the asset on the ground. So in our world, we go find great properties, we go buy them, we have investors utilize them. When investors aren't utilizing them, we're renting them out. And then Luxus is managing that whole platform for us and is doing a really good job.
They're the ones that are doing the bookings. They're the ones that are managing it. So they're the operator.
They're the operator on the back end as it comes to bookings. In our role, we're just a syndicator buying these great properties, raising capital. Our whole theory is that, you know, people want to do two things. They want to make memories with people they love and care about and have these unbelievable experiences, but they also want to make money. And in most real estate, and I've done real estate across a variety of asset classes. I've owned apartments, I've owned warehouses, I've owned a golf course, I've done oil and gas deals, wind turbine deals. You name the asset class in real estate, I've been a part of it. The one thing that I always find is people don't care about the money as much as the memories. But if you can combine the two, where you have the pragmatic side that says, hey, I want to make this money, but then you have the realistic side that says, how do I make this memory? How do I be able to go and do these unbelievable experiences with my friends, my family, go surfing, go skiing, go see Taylor Swift or Morgan Wallen that I've been able to do with my kids because we've owned properties in these great locations? That's what they remember. And that's what they're going to remember for a long time versus, hey, dad made another X or Y or whatever. It's how do we get these unbelievable memories that we can share with others and then also make some money?
So, and I promise I'll move on past Costa Rica. But so like your role is to identify, hey, this property over here, that would make a great short-term rental. And then you go out there, you either raise the capital or have the capital yourself or find a great lender. You go in there, acquire it, and then you go, okay, do you fix it up, or do you call Lexus to be like, hey, what do we need to do to get this to your standards?
Yeah.
Or do they have like a book ready to go, like, hey, this is what we require?
A little bit of both. I mean, we're only buying top-notch properties. So our threshold's $3 million and above. So we're only buying really great properties that already meet that standard.
Right, but and then you and I both know it's like, hey, this might be a $3 million property, but it's got 1970s everything.
Yeah, luckily we've not bought any 1970s. Everything that we're buying is pretty much brand new or it's already. Where Luxus comes into play is helping us on the bedding, the TV structure, the curtains, all the kind of interior side to really take it to that next level. So it's no longer just a house, but it's a very luxurious home. So when someone checks in, it's that wow factor that we all know. That's what they're bringing.
And with them, do you just say like, hey, we have 123 Main Street, Executive Main Street, because I know 123 Main Street, but do they go, okay, hey, we need $100,000 to get this property up to date, or not up to date, but like all the fixtures that you're talking about? Or do you send your team in, go buy it yourself? Or is it
it's a combination.
Okay.
So we work with them to say, here's what's in the house, here's what we need to do to take it to both of our standards for our investors, for our team. And then they say, all right, here's what we also need to do to add it to make sure that from, someone that's renting the house, it's rentable for them. And the difference, a lot of times people forget, the the type of house that you have that you live in personally versus the type of house that you rent out sometimes have different things. So, you know, the stemware might be a little different, or a rug might not go here because someone's going to spill something on it. So there's some thought that goes through it. Another thing that we all think about is, all right, how many rooms, and then how many people will it sleep, and then what's too crowded. So there's, you know, we might take a room and turn it into a bunk room where we can sleep some kids and all that kind of stuff. Those are the fun conversations that we have with the design team to make sure that we're putting the house in the best light to make a lot of money and be something that moves to the top.
What type of returns, like, because like I hear $3 million house,
Yeah.
and I hear 80% booking. Like what type of returns are you, like, what is those houses being rented for?
Yeah, on average, our
night fee?
ADR is about $2,500 a night.
Okay.
And so, you know, we look at the returns being somewhere in the 20-25% range per house. And we also have a metric because, again, we have investors that are investing with us. Part of that investment is to be able to go use these houses. So it's being able to take that family to Costa Rica, to Deer Valley, to Scottsdale, to Maui, wherever it might be, and say, hey, we're going to go spend time in our house and utilize it and make those memories as well. And so there's a cost savings that goes along with that also.
What it almost sounds like a better, and I'm losing the terminology, but my dad loves these things where you go vacation rentals. Is that what the term?
Yeah.
It's
It's
almost like
fractional ownership.
Yeah,
and
but it's
all
almost
that.
like a better way, because like those vacation rentals sound like a scam.
Yeah.
And the reason they sound like a scam is because the way they sell
Yeah.
it, and it's almost predatory.
Right.
This sounds like, hey, it's that, but actually real.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we've been doing it for a long time. We've had great success with it. And what we have found is people want to go deploy capital that works for them, but also, you know, maybe the spouse or the kids want to say, how do I get to go utilize this? How do I get to go make more memories? You know, and that's the thing that we really try to drive home with the people that come on board with us is not only you getting to get a return, that's great, but you're also getting to make a memory. And the other thing that we do, which is very rare in the real estate market, is we do all this with no debt. So what that allows is a couple things. One, it allows you to take prime time, but then two, it doesn't allow me to call you for a capital call.
Right.
So the likelihood of me having to call someone saying, hey, the house didn't rent out, we need you to kick in another X is very, very small.
Well, yeah, especially like the turmoil we've had the last several years with interest rates all over the place.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were just having a conversation earlier about, you know, if you're in a syndication, interest rates go up, all of a sudden you have to have that capital.
You have to have that capital call. And there's a lot of people doing that right now, especially as you look at multifamilies gotten hit really hard with that.
Yeah.
Office, obviously, everybody in real estate knows how bad office is right now. In our model, we feel right now safety and capital is very good. And so we want to also say, listen, go let your money work for you. Not all real estate is equal, but real estate on beaches, real estate in mountains with ski and ski out usually go up, and they usually go up at a higher value than just some random house at 123 Main Street. And so in our model, we feel that the appreciation level will be pretty good, especially if we buy right. And buying with cash, you typically buy right, because I can go in there and offer you a deal. If you got it listed for $3 million, and we did this, hey, I'll give you $2.8 million, I'll close in 30 days. Most people are gonna say, all right, I'll take that, because they know you're a sure thing, where everybody else has to go through these whole, 2, 3, 4 months of financing, especially out of country, where we can do it pretty quickly.
Cash is king.
Cash is king.
All right. So moving past Costa Rica, where'd you say your other properties are?
We just bought one in Deer Valley, Utah, part of a brand new ski resort, ski in, ski out. It's a $4 billion development that we bought a unit there. Unbelievable. Everything's state of the art, from ski lifts that are heated to snowmaking machines to obviously the unit itself.
And you can ski in, ski out
from the unit.
Because I know, it's been a while since I've been to any kind of skiing, but it's always been like, the big resorts, the big hotels, and that's always been cool to ski and ski out. But like, I can't imagine ski and ski out of like an Airbnb type situation.
Yeah, now this is part of a resort, so this is part of the Grand Hyatt hotel system that we bought there. But it is
like a condo?
It is a condo. It is right there. They're not building any single family homes in
I was going to say, that feels that's why I've never experienced it.
Except for Tiger Woods is building a new course over there, and I think the starting price is about $25 million.
Yeah.
And so a little out of our price range. But again, I mean, for us, we look at the market, we look at where the places are. are, and then the type of houses that fit that market. This one is a really good deal that we were able to uncover.
So you've got beach and you've got mountain.
Mountain, yeah.
What are the similarities? What are the differences? Or is it the same thing across the board? It's just, whereas over here you worry about sand, this is you're worrying about snow.
Yeah, I mean, they're both seasonal to some extent, but both, if you look at it on a calendar year, they both actually rent very, very well for different reasons. From the inside part of the house, they're very similar. Again, the bedding's the same, the sheets, the mattresses, everything there is going to be the same, all the way down to the coffee maker and the vacuum. And then you look at kind of the amenities that you're able to offer. So our Costa Rica house, we're very heavy on excursions. We're very heavy on, obviously, the beach stuff, the mountain stuff as far as
Are y'all
zip
doing
lining.
the concierge type?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, if our guests come again, it's an elevated guest that rents our property.
Right.
We do everything from the black car shuttle service, picking them up at the airport, to when they open the door, there's someone there greeting them with a glass of champagne. They've got, in Costa Rica, they're making some fresh bread. They've got the pineapple, everything cut up for them. All
So
that kind of
that
stuff.
2,500 ADR, and I'm assuming ADR is like average daily
Average
rate.
daily rate, yeah.
That's just to get in the spot.
That's a good.
And then that's just your base, and everything else is added on.
That includes all the other stuff.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And so, because for us, we're still making a good amount on that, but we also want people to repeat, and we want that guest to also say, you know what, I love my experience here. It was unbelievable all the way down again to how I slept. I'm going to tell my friends, but I'm also knowing that they have other properties. I'm going to go rent their other properties.
Okay.
So you do that in the hotel world. In the hotel world, it's always talked about, hey, I love the Four Seasons experience. So when I go to Chicago, I'm going to stay at the Four Seasons. When I go to Maui, I'm going to stay at the Four Seasons, right? But no one does that in the short-term rental world.
Yeah.
There's no consistency in brand. You just go into Airbnb or VRBO, whatever that platform is, and you start saying, well, that's a good house. I think that's a good one. But if we can get you in the door of one of ours, you're going to book all the other ones.
So so you've got the Costa Rica, you got the Utah.
We got another one in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
So this is more of kind of a metropolitan feel, right? So these are people that want to go play golf, that want to go, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, guys trips, girls trips, couples trips. We've got a house there that we've owned for a long time that does very well. And it stays booked as well. Our ADR on that house is very good.
So earlier you said that you've done single family, you've done multifamily, you've done oil. Where are you mostly now? Like, it sounds like you're
all on the short-term rental side.
Is it just because it's more fun?
It's more fun. I mean, at the end of the day, I've done that, and what the changing thing for me was because of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the reason I got heavily involved in this.
Now, this is a conversation I love to get into.
Yeah. So here's why. So 2 years ago, Taylor Swift announced her Eras tour, right? She just finished it, but the first 2 years ago, roughly, she announced it. Her very first concert was in Scottsdale, Arizona. My, at the time, 14-year-old daughter came to me and said, hey, Dad, any chance we can go stay at the house in Arizona and go see Taylor Swift? Now, being a girl dad, absolutely. Booked a house, flew out there, got the tickets, had an unbelievable time. And I'm not a Swiftie, but she puts on a great concert.
Right.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
That's what everybody says.
I mean, I'm telling you, no matter what 3.5 hours of going strong.
Like literally I think every podcast, I've never seen her live, but every podcast has ever talked about, like, you get these manly men, they're like, I had to take my girlfriend or I had to take my daughter every single time. Even Stephen A. Smith is like, best concert I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I've seen a lot of concerts, been very blessed. And then when we checked out of our house, someone else checked in. They paid us an exorbitant amount of money to stay in my house. And we flew back home, and I was able to do two things. I was able to make a memory with my daughter that is more precious than anything, right? But I was also able to make money. And most of the other deals that I've done, my kids didn't care about, like, hey, we had to go.
Because like Taylor Swift was doing like a double.
She did 2 concerts, yeah.
So you went to the first night.
We went to the first
night.
night. We were the very first concert she went to.
So you went to that one, left, and then you were able to book the next night, probably at a premium rate.
Premium rate, that's right.
Okay.
So I was able to achieve both sides of that coin, right?
And you said that earlier. You said that was the moment. What in that moment? It was just because you're like, wow, I'm seeing everybody going, oh, there's such a demand.
Such a demand. There's always, people always want to travel to great places, right? And those places usually entail beaches and mountains and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the more you can do that, the more you can be the one owning versus the one renting. Why not? Right? And so why not be able to say, I'm going to go make a little bit of money over here, but I'm also going to be able to make a memory. I'm also going to be able to save on taxes when I go travel. I'm also going to be able to write these off through cost seg and do all the other things. And I can flip a switch and make more money tomorrow than I can anywhere else. Because if you do apartments, if you do single family homes, you lock in a lease. Your lease for a year at X. Well, for me, hey, the Cowboys are playing, so you know what? That hotel rate, instead of being $250 a night, it's $500. Why? Because of the demand. They're able to flip a switch and make more money instantly. Where any other model, it's very hard to do that. In our model, we can flip a switch. Hey, there's high demand here, and so we're going to flip that switch. If I can underwrite at the low demand price and make it make sense, then I know everything else is gravy.
Yeah, what is it called? Surge pricing?
Yeah.
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 Well, not to hone in on Taylor Swift, but economically, it's just a fascinating conversation, because I think it was either Singapore or Philippines were like, we need to build a stadium specifically because they know, like, if she comes for 3 or 4 shows, I mean, I'm sure her alone is a GDP of really high.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's amazing the draw that she brings.
Yeah.
And I mean, making $1 billion in 2 years is not a bad day.
It's just funny to me how someone like that, because I get with fame, there's always a level of hate.
Yeah.
But it's like, step out and just look at the economic side of it. Like, that conversation is just fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, what she's done, and to bring, again, guys like me that's not a big Taylor Swift fan, but now, like, when the music's on, I'm singing the songs in the living room with the kids. I mean, I still remember it. And that is what we try to implore to people, is like, I still remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I forgot what I charged somebody for the apartment complex I owned 3 years ago. I forgot the rental rate.
What makes you go from oil, single family apartments, and go, you know what? I'm going short-term rentals.
Yeah, I always owned short-term rentals just on my own. So
right.
I always had them, and those were just kind of in the peripheral. But then I started.
But those are probably more of your like standard single family.
Standard single family
executive.
That's right. And then I was like, you know what? There's a need. There's people that want to do this. There's people that renting it out. If we buy the right property in the right area at the right price, what's our downside?
Right.
And so, and again, there's only so much time in the day. Why not use that time making a memory, having fun, versus I'm going to use that time to go, flip 15 houses, and God love people that do that, but it's a lot of work. I want to go sit at the beach and know when I check out, someone's checking in that's going to pay for my entire trip. Right. And I wrote that entire trip off on my taxes.
Right.
That to me is fun. At this stage of my life, that's how I look at fun.
So you say you have three properties right now?
Yeah, 3 properties right now. We're actively looking. We got 1 under contract in Vail, Colorado, and 1 in Turks and Caicos.
Because I also heard that you said you had investors in these properties.
Yeah.
Now, forgive my naiveness, but is that enough income to sustain whatever lifestyle you have plus your investors' lifestyles, or is this just one investment strategy next to many?
It's one next to many. And so there's other things that we still own that I've got teams that manage and run. I own a golf course that's, a very fun investment. And so that, we got people that are kind of managing this one. This is the latest venture in my long history of ventures that we're starting and seeing great success with, and that really.
Well, because we're at the boardroom event here off to the side. And in the boardroom, obviously, is an exclusive crowd, and it's an expensive crowd. Yeah. So that's why I was like, 3 properties, and no matter how valuable they are, it doesn't seem like that's enough to like maybe be a part of the boardroom. But one sliver of a much bigger portfolio makes sense.
Much bigger portfolio. That's diversified out in a lot of things.
It's not like you just jumped into high $3 million plus short-term rentals.
No, we've been doing, I've been doing real estate investing for a long time.
Yeah.
And, we still own a lot of assets. This is just one that I've really found favor in, that it's fun, that it also makes a lot of money. I love putting deals together, working with great people to help them achieve their goals. There's a lot of people out there that have capital to deploy. They've done the traditional Roth IRA, 401k, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, equity side. They probably owned a rent house or 2. They probably invested in some syndicated deal, but they're looking for the next opportunity. And we're seeing a lot of success of people saying, yeah, I want to do that, but so does my spouse.
Well, the multifamily thing, I think the last 10 years, at least in the education circuit, it seemed like it got more and more and more popular, which means it got more and more and more competitive, which means now people are getting kicked in the teeth.
Cap rates are compressed. A lot of people are doing it. 99.9%, I'd even bet 100% are all debt financed with some sort.
Yeah.
And as debt changes, because it's all going to be on short-term debt, whether it's a 5, 7-year, 10-year lock, there might be some rate buy-down opportunities, all the things that go into that. It's still debt that, as more and more people are doing it, you can compress that cap rate enough where rent doesn't keep up, and now you're having that dreaded capital call.
If that leverage is a beautiful thing until it's not.
Until it's not. And no one ever underwrites for that, or no one ever talks about that when they're out there pitching their deal. Right. You know, they never talk about the downside. What happens if? And we talk about it all the time in our deal. What happens if? Let's talk about the downside.
Well, if you have enough partners, if you have a house in Costa Rica, it's like, well, I guess I'm visiting once a week or once a month or whatever.
We're going more, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, with no debt, the downside is very minimal. The downside is taxes and utilities.
So with this current venture, like, do you want to get like 3, 5, 10, like 100 of these things? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah.
Or is it more of a lifestyle? Like, hey, I need a house in Paris just because I want to go to Paris more.
No, I mean, there is a method to the madness. So we're raising $15 million, or a little over halfway there, with the idea that we'll hold the properties for 10 years. We're going to have about 5 to 6 houses total, so about $3 million a piece. That's how we get to the $15 million. And then we pay dividends all along the way back to our investors. And then in the end of 10 years, we sell it, give the investors back, hopefully all their money plus proceeds.
Plus the appreciation of the houses themselves. Because when they're buying the real estate, but they're also buying the business itself.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll sell it more than likely on a cap rate model, because we can say, here's how much that house in that area generated. And we're building it with the end in mind. That end in mind is for a private equity group that's out there. There's big companies that do this, Marriott. Amex is starting to get into the space where they're buying high-end luxury homes. So our goal is to build this up and flip it to one of them at a heavy multiple.
What type of multiple is this type of business usually go for?
4 to 5x.
Okay. Of the EBITDA?
Of EBITDA,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, because it's one of the things I was looking at. Just, we don't know each other very well, but like, you know, it was in real estate, now I'm in media.
Yeah.
But I'm in the SMU Executive MBA program right now. I'm also in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business program right now. So I'm in this heavy, like, information or gathering, how to be a better business guy, how to be, basically I'm trying to be smarter. I'm trying to, you know, leapfrog the process, but like having good financials has never been a strong suit for me.
Yeah.
But I've always looked at financials as a tax thing, not necessarily a cap raise or a lending thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh,
that's why that makes sense.
That's why I knew that. But even like, you know, understanding the multiples, like, okay, I need to raise capital. Okay, what's my type of company? What multiple is it?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's 3 to 4x of EBITDA. Okay, well, technically we don't have EBITDA, so what is it? Okay, well, it's 10 to 12%, or 10 to, in my business, it could be 10 to 12 of revenue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, anyway, it's just playing that game and that shell game, but ultimately it's, what is it worth? Well, what is someone going to pay?
What is someone going to pay?
You know,
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the thing. And so, yeah, I mean, we look at it, we are keeping that thought process in mind. And then our fallout, our backup plan is always, well, we can just sell it to a very rich person that wants a house in that area.
Yeah. Also, I think I said my numbers wrong. I think it's 3 to 4 in my industry. It's 3 to 5 of revenue, and 10 to 12 on EBITDA.
Okay.
So yeah. Just you know, not that anybody cares. No one's
going to check.
No one's going to fact check me.
Yeah.
It's not the internet or anything like that.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, you know, I look at it again. How are you making that memory? How are you having fun, enjoying what you do?
Yeah.
And no matter what level of real estate that you're in, if you're enjoying what you're doing and it's working out for you, man, stay in it.
So as far as the business ventures you've done in the past, what's been the best investment strategy so far for you?
We've had a lot. I mean, like anytime you can buy a distressed asset, fix it up, and get 2 to 3x, but it's like going from 40,000 to 120. That's a 3x on your money, right?
Right.
That's great. It sounds good. Oh, I 3x my money. That sounds good. Another one I really like is the one I just talked about, the golf course. So we bought a distressed asset, which was a golf course.
That's also a flex, though. It's like,
I don't want to say no, because in owning a golf course, we own a lot of things people tell you never to invest in.
Right.
Golf course, restaurant, bar, pickleball, like all the pools, all those kind of things. We own them all. The thing was, we took that from 120 members to 1,200. We won top new amenity. We won best culinary, fastest growing course, all by Golf Digest, golf, all in the golfing publications. It's been really fun because A, as a golfer, I get to go play.
right.
B, it's another lever that we can flip pretty quickly and add and increase revenue on multiple levels, right? So you got the membership side. We're fully private. We have and that's for full golf. Then you have a social side. Then you have food and beverage. Then you have alcohol. Then we have pickleball. We have all these different little things that we do that incrementally is additional revenue back to us.
Right.
That is small spend from an operating standpoint. So it's another one that has been really fun to kind of walk through that.
It's fun because there's certain business ventures that are obviously all money, all revenue, but you can also have the fun aspect because the golfing is fun, but I'm sure it's still a business.
Still business.
The short-term rentals are fun, but it's still a business.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine. His family, they own a soccer club, a football club in Mexico. To me, when you just hear that, you're like, oh my God, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do well. I think they do steel manufacturing.
Okay.
So 100 million top line. And you're like, oh wow. That, you're just like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you hear football club, you're like, oh wow, y'all are really killing it. And he describes it as a $400,000 a year hobby.
Yeah.
because it's just costs $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Now, like to everyday guy, you're like, man, that'd be really cool to own a football club, but I don't know if I would pay $400,000 a year for a hobby.
Yeah.
That just loses and stressful and all that. But I guess if you have that capability and that's what you love.
Yeah, you got the capability, that's what you love, and maybe you need a tax write-off here or there. We're not in that stage. There's a lot of tax write-offs that we get on that side, on the golf course side. And luckily, it's not a hobby. Luckily, it's profitable. And so it's a situation that we were able to, again, take a distressed asset and really grow it. But at the same time, have a lot of fun doing it. I mean, not without its work and challenges, but it is a little kind of cool to be able to go into a place that you own and be a part of something unique.
So Brad, how would you define success?
Yeah, a freedom of time.
Yeah.
Freedom of time to me is success. If I can go do what I want, when I want, where I want, with who I want, that's success. It's not dollars in the bank account. It's, listen, I don't want to work. If I don't have to work today because I have the freedom of time not to work today, that's success.
And if you were giving me advice, I'm the hustle grind to a T at this moment in time.
Yeah.
What advice could you give me today that I can employ today to maybe get to more of a success?
Yeah, find what motivates you and moves you. Find how to take that passion, take that love, and capitalize on it. The other thing, and you're doing it, and my hat is off to you, as we talked about earlier, I'm not smart enough to go back to school. I tell people all the time, study. I mean, the fact that there is so much knowledge out there. I mean, sitting here at the boardroom, you're encapsulated with people that are going to pour into you and give you more information. But there's tons of podcasts, there's tons of books, there's tons of things that you can do to really learn from someone else's mistake. And I think a lot of times people don't do that. They don't take that time to say, all right, this is the path I'm going down. Let me find a mentor. Let me find somebody to help walk down that path. And let me find 10 people that screwed up and find out why they screwed up.
What book would you recommend, or books in the business space or motivational space? Or what are you reading right now, if you're a big reader at all?
Yeah, I'm a big podcast guy. I've listened to Alex Hermosi on my drive here today. The subtle art of not giving a
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that.
You can say it.
That's a pretty good book as well, because it talks about not caring what other people think, but really being true to yourself. Good to Great is another really good book talking about, just putting the right people in the right spots. Maxwell, I just read another John Maxwell book, and it's blanking on me right now. The Power of People. The Power of People is really good, because we don't do this in a vacuum. Even though you might be an entrepreneur, you might be a solopreneur, you might be doing something, there's always a team, whether it's an accountant or this or that. And so having the right people there, going back to John Collins' Good to Great, having the right people there is important, but being a person that provides power to other people. A lot of times we look at what can you give to me versus how can I give to you? And then how can I do that genuinely without some sort of back end, hey, I need this.
I always get this wrong. It was either Eleanor Roosevelt or Churchill. One of those people. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to fact check me anyway. But it's like in your 20s, you're always worried about whatever people think about you. In your 30s, you don't care what other people are thinking about you. In your 50s, you realize no one is ever thinking about you in the first place.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it was Roosevelt. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said that.
Yeah.
But that's exactly. I mean, the older you get, the more gray hair you get, the more life you get. I try to tell my kids this all the time. No one cares what you're wearing, because you don't. What did Sally wear yesterday? You can't remember.
Right.
So why is she going to remember what you wore? No one cares.
Right.
Right. But the quicker you can learn that lesson, it's usually the better.
Yeah. Hermosi, to pivot for a second, I saw a clip of him, I think yesterday, and he was talking about how being an entrepreneur is all about how much pain can you tolerate.
That's right. Yeah.
It's about pain tolerance.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I've never heard anybody describe it like that.
Yeah.
Because like, as an entrepreneur myself, like we all go through the struggles of like needing capital or people, processes, technology, all those things. And it's like, if you're not an entrepreneur, you have no idea the amount of stress that comes into play. But like him just putting it to very simply saying, being an entrepreneur is pain tolerance. How much pain tolerance do you have? I was like, well, that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. He said something today I heard on the podcast talking about constraints, finding your constraint. So the constraint, if you think about it, we say a lot of times the weakest link. Find where that weakest link is and then go fix that. And that elevates you to the next level. And I think that's what we try to do in ours, and we talk about this with our teams is, all right, where are we failing? What's our constraint? Why are we not going from, 2,500 ADR to 3,000?
Yeah.
Is it because we don't have the right amenities, the right marketing? Are we missing something? Is the people not able to do it? Whatever that constraint is, how do we eliminate that and move to the next one? And then eliminate that one and move to the next one. How do we find that constraint?
I think with that, I think with being an entrepreneur, you have to have an element of self-confidence and craziness to actually go out there and on that ledge and do it. But also, to your point about constraints or Hermosi's, is being humble enough to realize that I need to fix that.
Yeah.
And I already shared where my journey is like, that's why I'm doing SMU. That's why I'm doing Goldman. That's why I go to so many things. I realize that, hey, I didn't, in the 5 years of business I'm at, I don't have a $10 billion company yet.
Yeah.
So what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Not that this will ever be a $10 billion company, but why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what steps can I do to fix that?
Because I can promise you, there are media companies that are worth $10 billion.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So how do I
why not me?
Exactly.
And that's all. And I think that is that mind shift of saying, and that's always kind of like me, is like, well, if that guy can do it, especially most people, they start with nothing, they make something, and really most people fail. Hermosi is a prime example of that. Ken Clothier is a prime example of that. Dave Ramsey's a prime example. Look at all these great guys, went from 0 to 100, back to 0, probably even negative, and then picked themselves back up. So if they can do it, what's the secret sauce?
Right. You look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Politics over there, let's not even give it. But like I recently listened to his audiobook his biography, successfully bankrupt all the way, like always on that edge of just failure, almost on that edge of bankruptcy. PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, and now he's like what, a trillionaire or something? And it's just like, it's like right there. You're just like 1 or 2 tweaks away from just complete success.
Right there. And that to me is the biggest thing I've found from the really successful is they never stopped.
Yeah.
They didn't get that limiting belief and say, well, you can't because you can't, and because I did it. But someone did. Someone's had success, so why can't it be me? And
think-
just believing in yourself.
I think that's a good way to wrap. Why not me?
Yeah.
As far as you, like, what if you were going to give advice to somebody, parting words of wisdom, you know, your 18, 20-year-old self, what would you tell them?
Man, study. Honestly, study. Find something you love, study, ask for help, and take a risk. Like you're talking to 18, 19-year-old Brad, I'm taking bigger risk. I'm going out there. I'm trying to really dive into things a whole lot more. The typical fashion is, and I'm not downplaying this, but go to school, get married, get a job, you know, retire, go live your life. Reverse that. Live your life now, man. Go have fun. Go make memories. Go travel. Go learn. Try things. Don't be afraid to take that leap of faith and say, this is where I'm going to go. I think those are the people that, you know, have great, great success.
And go see Taylor Swift in concert.
And go see Taylor Swift in concert. That's right. If she comes back, she'll blow it up again. There'll be a reunions tour.
Brad, I appreciate you doing this. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.